Hi there, everybody. Karen Roby here with Tech Republic and ZDNet, talking all things 5G today with Swaran Kumar. He's an assistant professor at Carnegie Mellon University. Thanks for being with us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Certainly. It's hard to talk all things 5G, as that would take us probably days to cover. But I know it's one of your areas of expertise. I think one of the things we're seeing now is people are trying to figure out what it's really capable of and what does 5G even mean, to the average person and to, industry and, where are we going to see these big changes? So when you talk about misconceptions, I think that's a good place to start here, Swarren. What are some of the bigger ones that you're seeing?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions I see is almost immediate expectation of faster wireless for you personally, which might not happen because the 5G network in your location might not be deployed yet, or you might not have a 5G compatible phone yet. And even when you do have that 5G network, the infrastructure is constantly being upgraded. So you might not see the peak speeds that you expect. That's one misconception. Another misconception I see is the thinking that 5G is all about phones, but it's also about new applications that will emerge, including connected devices, the Internet of Things, smarter cities, smart infrastructure, and so on.
I think that what we're all hoping for, it seems, so many of us now working at home and the kids are learning at home. And so we were just talking about it, my Wi-Fi going out. We have all these issues with us being at home. So it's never been more important than to be connected and stay connected. But I think it's interesting to think that we all hope that this is going to be some magic answer, but maybe that's not truly what this will be.
I agree. It's going to take time to set up the kind of infrastructure, the physical infrastructure. Imagine how many towers, imagine the upgrades you need to get a nationwide service up and running. That said, it's surprising but 5G deployments have actually sped up a little bit over the pandemic because people have realized the importance of being connected. Connectivity to rural communities, connectivity to underserved communities has become more important than ever before. And part of what's heartening for me is 5G and the network deployments have really taken off. And I hope more of that happens because we need connectivity badly.
Yeah, we certainly do. And talk a little bit about, as for when we do a lot of interviews on, smart cities, IoT, and all of these sensors everywhere now. We've got cameras everywhere. So the need to have all of these different pieces connected and better connected, it's never been more important. Expand a little bit, if you will, in explaining how 5G will enable these smart cities to take off, and then also talk a little bit about IoT and how that will change how those devices are enabled and working.
Yeah, I think connecting devices and connecting the Internet of Things is an important pillar of 5G. It's called broadly machine-to-machine communication. So here at Pittsburgh, for example, at CMU, we have a bunch of 5G towers to connect city buses and city infrastructure to the Internet, as well as roadside infrastructure. We're trying to scale this up and connect other devices. And there are deployments from private players happening all over the country on connected infrastructure, primarily for better traffic management, for managing factories better, inventory better, as well as enabling some of the architecture and infrastructure we need for things like autonomous vehicles and so on to take off in the future.
What are some of the bigger roadblocks you see, in looking towards still in developing and deploying 5G? Where do you see some of the hangups or hiccups that we will face along the way?
One of the biggest challenges is uneven coverage. So right now, if you see, there are two islands of 5G coverage. One is these high-speed millimeter wave networks that are in a few pockets like downtown New York, Chicago, congested places. And then you have more low-frequency coverage that is slightly better than 4G speeds almost everywhere else. So there's a lot of inequality that's creeping in how 5G is being deployed, partly because of the spectrum that's available. And this is going to be a problem moving forward to bridge that gap. And it's an ongoing area for research, and it's an ongoing challenge for enterprises as well.
And you mentioned just a few minutes ago, of course, the pandemic, and it's hard to talk about where we are in life right now without referencing what 2020 has thrown at us. Expand a little bit, if you would, on specifically how you think the pandemic has helped to accelerate or put some plans on fast forward specifically for 5G.
Yeah, during the pandemic, I think there's been a speed up in infrastructure deployment in general, particularly for connectivity. A lot of our children are remote learning at this time, and we need connectivity for all of our spaces. There are efforts around CMU as well on deploying new mesh networking technologies for low-income families around the in the neighborhoods around Pittsburgh. So there's a lot of new activity going on and setting up new wireless infrastructure. And it's unsurprising it's wireless because you need to set up the infrastructure very quickly. And this is one way of doing it and getting connectivity very quickly to a large number of people. That's one thing that one outcome of the pandemic. But we still have a long way to go to get nationwide 5G coverage. It is certainly going to be a work in progress for a while.
Yeah, most definitely. We will be talking about it for a long time. Certainly won't happen overnight. Well, switching gears here before we wrap up, Swarwin, when you obviously are teaching there at Carnegie Mellon, and some of the young, brightest minds in the country. What does how has the feeling changed over this last 9 months, do you think, when it comes to teaching and learning, and how things are perceived now when it comes to technology and things like 5G as a result of this pandemic? How are things changing in the minds of some of those students, do you think?
I think it's been a challenging time because we've all had to adapt and very quickly move to a remote learning experience, remote teaching experience. I've had students set up home projects and home labs, almost like assembling circuits like Legos, setting up their own wireless devices at home, doing some home augmentation and home automation, using some of the tools that we send to them. So it's been a different sort of learning experience from what they would do normally. Sitting together in a lab, collaborating has been a bit of a challenge. Everything is over Zoom these days. But there are also new opportunities, right? I could not imagine setting up a project where students automate their homes, but I could do this now. Also, since I teach a networking course and a computer networking and wireless networking course, the importance of setting up your wireless network right has never been more stark than during these times. So in a sense, it's made them appreciate what we do a lot more.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's definitely made us all be, a little more resourceful, and having to find new ways, to do things. And I guess that's the silver lining, because we've got to find some kind of a silver lining. Well, I certainly appreciate you being here with us today, and much more to come on 5G and what it means for all of us as we head into 2021. Thanks again for being with us, and thank you for watching us here today.